Hey! Hi, Amy. How are you? Hoping a few more join us in a moment, but can you hear me okay? It's been a long couple of days. I've been putting together this new setup, and as you can see, I've got a second camera. My phone is being used as a camera over my hands, which I think is pretty cool. Yeah. So how's everybody doing? How's your month been? I was trying to think back to the last time we all met, and a lot has happened. A lot is happening, right? Um, it's crazy how being stuck at home, still with the quarantining, I find myself with a lot of projects, which is probably good. And I love being here with all of you to share that with. So, so keep your comments, keep your questions coming, all the ideas, all the good things. What I'm going to do tonight, we're going to try something a little different. Since I have my laptop here and my phone there, I'm going to follow along in any comments you have or questions you have. I'm going to follow along in the thread of the post, if that makes sense. So, I had some new ideas for tonight. Been working a lot. My voice is a little funny tonight, so we'll see. It'll be fresh. Last month I was at my brother and sister-in-law's house on my keyboard. This month I'm back home in my apartment. I was sort of quarantining with them a little bit. As you can see, I have my microphone here. This is running into. I like to do a little bit behind the scenes because I feel like with Patreon, the whole idea is that we get a taste of what's happening behind the scenes. I posted a picture today of what my setup looks like, and I've got a camera up here. You can see the wire hanging over me. I've got my microphone here, and then there's an interface behind the laptop here that plugs into a USB port. And also the phone's in a USB port, so it's all sort of wiring together. I even bought a webcam, but I was having trouble getting a really good feed. I think it was too many ports into the computer. So yeah, so there was all of that, plus getting the right audio to read into the computer, plus getting it through YouTube. So all that good stuff. It's crazy. But I want to say that with all your support, all of the monthly support that I get, that you give. That is going towards my work here, and also then my outreach to you and to other places where I'm able to play. And I love having this because now you get to see my hands, what they're doing. I've gotten that note a lot of questions about what are my hands doing. I'm going to start with a song that I started with last time, and this one I just feel like is a great starter because it's sort of my COVID anthem. With this in mind, I like to make light of it all. I know that we're living in some very perilous times, precarious times, but I think it's important that we find humor, right? Don't you? I'm just going to make sure. How are we doing here? Good. All right. Here is this song. Maybe you remember it from last time. This is called Going Out. And I wrote this after having my own social anxiety about going out. And now that we're all inside, I don't get to go out as much. So that part of me is really happy. Not really happy, but relieved maybe. Let me know how it sounds. Going out, there's nothing to it. Going out, we have to do it. I keep my distance from people I see. That social awareness, no, it's social anxiety. I tell a story, I try to regale. I sense annoyance with every detail. And the evening's just begun. And that's going out. Sure. Going out. And going out is so much fun. I force a smile so I don't look surprised. See, I'm sitting with purpose. No, I'm actually paralyzed. I can't remember. Wait, what were their names? And everyone's brilliant, so everyone claims. They swallow their snacks. I swallow my pride. They contemplate culture. Me, I contemplate suicide. It's a fear you can't outrun. Well, that's going out, and that's going out, and going out is always so much fun. It's a mixture of joy and dread. I hear voices inside my head. Will they see my flaws? Was this a mistake? Will they see my imperfections? Wait, was that just a pause? Was that just a break? Or was that a full rejection? Pop another pill, block that anxious wave, avoid feeling ill, pretend to be brave. What if they realize? Why do I agonize? Why all this indigestion? I guess we could all stay in, but nothing would happen and nothing would begin. I did this song at a outdoor venue, actually. I have to post about that. I'm not sure how it went. I had fun, though. Going out, please tell me, won't you? going out. You feel it, don't you? I see you're anxious, it's nice to relate. I guess that my suicide will happily have to wait. Call me neurotic or call me insane. It's all familiar, so no need to explain. Now I'm not the only one. Well, that's going out. Yeah! Going out. And going out is so much. Oh my God, I love this. What the hell is happening? Going out is always so much fun. I get a kick out of that. I feel like it's a good reminder that we do get a little anxious every now and then. So, Amy, what else is new with you? I do want to put a post or something about your documentary coming out, because I feel like that's a really important thing for us to take part in, for us to be aware of. If you want to, I can share some of that here with us. Tonight, I'm sort of going through some more somber tone, but also some more silly stuff. I feel like with that, I was thinking a lot about humor and what it achieves, and the difference between making fun of versus laughing at your own sort of frailty, And in that case, the character is sort of manic and having these big ideas about the fears of going out, and I hope that's sort of the goal of that moment, is to sort of see how silly and irrational our fears can be, How is the sound coming through? I hope it's coming through okay. I'm gonna check really quick. Yeah, sounds good. All right, I'm going to move on. This next song I wrote, it was a poem by A.E. Housman, who wrote poems during World War I. But he died in 1936, so he was sort of around a little bit longer after that. But he wrote, I think some of his friends had passed during the war. And this poem I didn't realize was so popular. It was one of those moments where I found a poem and I just wrote music in sort of a quick exercise. But I ended up really loving it. So this is a song that I wrote to the poem when I was 1 in 20. And again, tonight we're sort of going from silliness to more genuine, sort of serious tone. Sort of where I've been, I guess, emotionally. See what you think. When I was 1 in 20, I heard a wise man say, give crowns and pounds and guineas, but not your heart away. Give pearls away and rubies, but keep your fancy free. But I was 1 in 20, no use to talk to me. When I was 1 in 20, I heard him say again, the heart out of the bosom was never given in vain. 'Tis paid with sighs aplenty and sold for endless rue. But I am 2 in 20, and oh, 'tis true, 'tis true. I don't know, what do you think? I love that image of when you're 21, you think you know, and 22, poetically so, things changes. You're paying with endless rue. I took the idea of sort of an English style with that music. This very, this sort of feeling of a troubadour. You know, there's sort of a wisdom, I guess, or a questioning, or just that, I guess, questioning comes with wisdom, right? This next song I wrote, was the last song I think I did in public before COVID hit, before everything shut down in March. And I was trying to write, James Taylor had this interview recently where he said, if you want to write, try writing another song that you love. And he talked about some of his music, the way he would take a song and write it in his own voice. But of course, it becomes something else entirely. And I was taken by this song. I won't tell you exactly all the specifics, but it was a song about sort of looking at your life through the grass is always greener, that it's somehow it's better on the other side. And I thought, wouldn't it be funny to write that song about wanting to get everything and then finding out it's not what you wanted? Because ultimately the turning point is when you be careful what you wish for. Right? Yeah. Just wondering, I'm wondering if people are having any issues finding the stream tonight. But, oh well, here we are. So this next song was taking that idea, and it ended up being a bit sort of tongue-in-cheek on the nose. You'll have to tell me what you think. All right, so this song I called Someday Soon, and it's an alter ego. It's a character thinking about what if I got everything I ever wanted. So keep that in mind, the context of this. It's sort of a tongue-in-cheek, funny character. Someday soon I'll have a house high up in the hills where every room is papered with my $100 bills. Someday soon I'll see my name doused in dazzling lights, and we can watch my story 'cause I sold the movie rights. And everyone will claim the beauty of my name. I'll hide up in my castle, no more hassle with that daily grind. And everyone will see how my life ought to be. And surely I can handle any scandal if I'm so inclined. And I'm so inclined. Ah! Someday soon I'll give a speech, humbled by awards. For all I've done I'll thank you as my modesty affords. Pretty soon I'll deign to dine with the movie stars. We'll paint the town and fly around in flitting fancy cars. And everyone will claim the beauty of my fame. And purely on my merit I'll inherit that immortal throne. Now everyone can see how my life came to me. And now with this attention, they don't mention that I'm still alone. And at that point, when I first did this, there was a moan, a cry in the audience. I see you. Okay, good. Then one day I realized, looking in my eyes, where's the rush, where's the drive, where's the need I have to feel alive? They say the grass is always greener, I say somehow it looks meaner. It's too brutal, it's too much, now I fear I'm losing touch. Where's the thrills, who relaxes, paying bills, paying taxes? Now every day's the same, and they're shouting out my name. And the paparazzis, just like Nazis, showing up outside my door. Tell me what it's all been for. Someday soon I'll finally see who is meant for me. For now I see I've put too much upon my plate. I fear it may be far too late. Has all this been a test of me? Did hubris get the best of me? Someday soon we'll have to wait. Amy, thank you. Are you there? I feel like maybe have I missed some comments? I'm not sure. Let me see if I'm still catching this. Who knows? I'm maybe having technical difficulties this evening. We'll see. God. Oh, the best laid plans of mice and men go awry. Amy, there you are. Hi. Now here's a question for you all. I was not receiving the comments. Hey, Sarah. Oh my God. Donnie, hey, yes, welcome, Donnie, Sarah, Amy, thank you so much. I'm not sure why. You know what? I think I have to just refresh my my screen. But you're here. I'm so glad. I had that moment of like, ah. All right, so that character is a little like self-involved because here he wants. I sort of thought like it would be sort of like the plight of the privileged white man or something, like something, but on the face, not trying to celebrate that, but make fun of that, because this guy wants everything and then gets all upset for all the things he wanted. Life, right? Good. I'm so glad you're here. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know, Donnie and Sarah. I'm so glad you're here. Obviously, I'm having technical difficulties on my end, but I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you can hear me. Yes, Amy, dance the tango. What was the outdoor venue? Excellent, Amy. I'm so glad that you can hear me. Sarah, what a trooper. You're on the subway. The outdoor venue, funny you should ask. I was visiting my brother, again, quarantining together, and there was an outdoor garage bar. It was an outdoor venue, like open garage door. And what was funny about that was it was like a very different crowd than what I'm used to. Like they weren't cabaret going audiences. That was a bit different, and I decided to do my own music. I did my cabaret stuff. I did that song and I did a couple others, and it was mixed for sure. I think though those are great opportunities to just be like, you know what, I'm gonna do my thing. I'm not gonna worry about whether or not it fits in, because I thought, oh, I should do some Billy Joel. I should do something more in the style of what they're after, and to an extent you want to know your audience, but also I'm kind of like, you know what, it's really okay. I can soldier on with the best of them. So thank you, Amy, for giving that note. I saw your note on Facebook because I wasn't receiving any of the comments. To which end, I'm still learning how to do this on Patreon. The thing is, I'm working with open broadcast software, OBS, through YouTube to Patreon. And YouTube is the platform that Patreon partners with. So say that 5 times fast, right? Oh my goodness. I hope you're all doing well. All right, I'm going to switch back to a bit more of a somber tone. Not somber, genuine. Genuflective? Is that a word? I wrote this song. This is a poem by Alice Corbin Henderson called I Saw the World Go By, and she wrote it in 1920. And I was so moved by sort of the time period of World War One, and sort of the way the world changed after that First World War and how cultures changed. I think about Downton Abbey's time period, but not that. So I thought, I got my bandana with me. So I thought this was a good poem. I really liked the wording, and the only thing I changed was at the very end of the poem, I repeated the phrase 3 times, which is a very good rule of 3. It's a very good thing to do, right? That reminds me that the only time I think Richard Rodgers asked Hammerstein to change something was uh, I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love with a wonderful guy. You know, the end of that song, just that popped in my head. Anyway, so this is I Saw the World Go By. And also, I would say that this, I was having feelings about the anniversary of 9/11 and sort of both taking pride in our world, our country, but also reflecting on just reflecting on everything that's going on. And this was a good song to pull out for that. I saw the world go by with crimson banners flying and loud bugles crying. The young world went by. I saw the world go by, footsore and weary, banners torn and dreary. The old world went by. I saw the world go by and laughed to see it going and cried to see it going. And while I watched it going, the world went. Sort of a totally different feeling than the last song. And I think last time, Donnie, we were talking about this, and you had asked me about process, and the repetition of language is so important for lyrics, I think, or for songwriting a lot of times. Repetition's so important that... You know, I saw the world go by, and then this happened. And I saw the world go by, and that happened. Those are all very important. Oh, thank you, Amy. Bikers, yeah. The crowd was a bit. I think it was a bit. I hate to quantify a crowd, right? But I don't think they were musical theater fans, which is fine, which is absolutely fine. It was at some bar in New Jersey, and it was outdoors, and we were being safe. But my brother played guitar beautifully, and I just sort of did my thing. I was like, you know what? I'm from New York. I do musical theater. I write songs like this. But with poetry like that, and the other poem, I do feel that it pulls the music in a different direction, right? You know, a phrase like "when I was 1 in 20." Well, you don't say when I was 21 once. That's a very different phrase. When I was 21 once might be more maybe something more contemporary. You know. Or something a bit more, not even jazz, but different harmonies. Whereas when I was 1 in 20 gives me a sense of groundedness in a different way. It's like, oh, there's a maybe almost like a church-like harmony to it. That's how I felt about it. Cool. All right. I remember following, I think last time I followed along on my phone kept updating me, so I'm going to keep refreshing my page here. Tell me what you think about having the two screens. I think it's really cool, but I also recognize it's a little bit more work and maybe changes up the feeling. All right, now, last time, do you remember we talked about the road you didn't take from Follies, and Oh, thank you, Donnie. Yeah, I think I'm getting the messages now. This music to me, it to me was sort of the carousel of life, right? I know that sounds so poetic, but that's how, it's this sort of mournful. It could be mournful, it could be sad, it could be, making peace with the reality that we get older. We get older and the banners get torn and feet get weary. And my goodness, the language is so beautiful. Alice Corbin Henderson, look her up. She's amazing. I know, Amy. I'm seeing your laughter. Now, last time we did a little work on Sondheim, and I was talking to you about how I broke down The Road You Didn't Take. And I did that long video, and that was for the Broadway official masterclass program. Tonight, we had talked once, maybe it was a sing-along I had, about the comparisons between different writers. And I have been wanting to do more work sort of highlighting the lineage, the history. And I pulled out The Man I Love, which is a Gershwin tune, and I also have this handy dandy, How Could You Leave Home Without It, right? And in here, Sondheim says, so biblical, right? Talking about losing my mind from Follies, which I'm sure you're all hopefully familiar with. He says, musically, it was less an homage than a theft of Gershwin's The Man I Love, complete with near stenciled rhythms and harmonies, but it had a difference. The lyric written was not the style of his brother, but of Dorothy Fields. And then he goes on from there. Dorothy Fields wrote the book to Annie Get Your Gun. She wrote Sweet Charity with Cy Coleman. She was one of the few big female writers in musical theater. So she's incredible. And in this, I thought, wouldn't it be fun to play a little bit of both and see what you think, see what works. So I'm going to play for you. Why don't we start off with The Man I Love, because that came first. From Lady Be Good and Strike Up the Band, 1924. See what you think. I have some thoughts. So there's a verse to Man I Love, but we're going to focus on the where the tune starts. So it goes like this. Someday he'll come along, the man I love, and he'll be big and strong, the man I love. And when he comes my way, I'll do my best to make him stay. He'll look at me and smile, I'll understand. And in a little while, he'll take my hand. And though it seems absurd, I know we both won't say a word. Maybe I shall meet him Sunday, maybe Monday, maybe not. Still, I'm sure to meet him one day, maybe Tuesday will be my good news day. He'll build a little home, just meant for two, from which I'll never roam. Who would you? And so all else above, I'm waiting for the man I love. There you go. Oh, thank you, Amy and Donnie. And you're getting a lag? Donnie, are you getting I know we're turning into a workshop tonight. Are you getting a lag between the hands and the sound? Or are you getting a lag just because of this connection? I've been on the phone with my internet provider trying to figure out the best way to put this all together. So, remember that. Keep that in mind. The sun comes up, I think about you. The coffee cup I think about you. I want you so. It's like I'm losing my mind. The morning ends. I think about you. I talk to friends. I think about you. And do they know it's like I'm losing my mind? All afternoon doing every little chore. The thought of you stays bright. Sometimes I stand in the middle of the floor, not going left, not going right. I dim the lights and think about you. Spend sleepless nights to think about you. You said you loved me, or were you just being kind? Or am I losing my mind? And it goes on a little bit further, so I'm gonna hang on for that for a minute. So what do you think? I remember thinking this, and maybe I read the book first. I can't remember. Did I get another message? Oh, excellent. Oh, excellent, Amy. I just saw your post on Facebook of the Meryl. Is it the Meryl Seacrest book? I have it. I need to read it. I've got so many books on my shelf now. Oh, thank you, Donnie. I'm glad to do this live too. And the great thing about this is it will be saved, and we can share it with the whole Patreon family community later on. So if people didn't make it tonight, they can watch. Okay, so here's the nuts and bolts. Here's what I remember, and I think I had this. I want to say I had this idea before I read the book, the tome. That the wonderful thing that Sondheim wrote. My goodness, I'm going on. Here's what I think is interesting. Let's just take a look at the music. I find it fascinating. Someday he'll come. He said near rhythmic. What was he said near the same rhythms, right? The same rhythms. And near stenciled rhythms and harmonies, almost like he wrote over the Gershwin. And who better to borrow from than Gershwin? And who better to borrow from than Sondheim? He starts here. Someday I'll come along, the man I love, and he'll be big and strong, the man I love. And when he comes my way, I'll do my best to make. The reason I go faster, just for that one moment, is look at what's happening in the alto. We've got tenor, bass, tenor, alto, soprano, right? We've got this da 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 da. It's completely chromatic, which is interesting because at that time in music we were expanding our vocabulary in harmonies and tonal versus atonal. But I'm reminded that even Mozart had moments, I think, in one of his symphonies where he experimented with using all the 12 tones. We call it the 12 tone because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and we're back. The idea being that we're using this chromatic sequence to give us everything. And Gershwin's doing it down, right? He's taking that chromaticism down. Donnie, to your comment, thank you. The cool thing about doing this live is it's everything. It's what's happening, right? Now let's take a look at the Losing My Mind. Because we start here, right? Simple, A flat. The sun comes up, I think about you. The coffee cup, I think about you. I want you so, it's like I'm losing my mind. Then he repeats, second A section. Okay, what's similar about this? Well, Sondheim's doing this. Same idea, but he's going up. It's like I discovered Tutankhamun's tomb or something. And of course, he skips a step to resolve the chord. But I find it fascinating. You've got this, it's going up, it's just going up in half steps. Now, it may be no mystery that these two songs are related, but that's sort of what I get out of that initial moment. The other thing about he says in there, near rhythmic phrases, right? If you think of someday he'll come along, the man I love, ba-da-ba-da-ba-dee, ba-da-ba-dee. The sun comes up, I think about you, the coffee cup, bum bum ba-dum bum. It's a really similar rhythmic structure. That, and one other thing, again, there is probably more to be mined out of Losing My Mind, because mind as in mind, Doug, more defined. Let me just make sure I'm getting everything. The two screens are, this is a new concept for me, and as I continue to build my home studio and work, I'm going to figure out, what works best and what does everyone like. Sondheim really brings it home in the key change with I dim the lights and think about you, spend sleepless nights to think about you. You said you love me. There's that same idea from Isn't that interesting? Yeah, Amy, me too. But it goes back to what James Taylor said. He had an interview with Stephen Colbert. Try writing a song that you love. And in this case, and all throughout Follies, Sondheim was writing homage to different composers. And in that instance, he took The Man I Love and just flipped it. Instead of doing it, he just went up. Right? It's so I think when we have we all have influences. I think we take those ideas but by the time you've run with it, you almost forget the source material in a way that it now becomes yours. It's kind of like the way, Sondheim talks about this, but other writers too. You might take a monologue, or you might take pages of written notes about characters, and then put that away. Put that in the drawer and just write your song. Just write something else. Because at that point, you've been soaking everything you have by osmosis into what you know about these new characters in your own stories. Yeah. Now, a few minutes left. Any questions, comments, concerns? This setup took a lot to do. Thank you, Sarah. I'm so glad. And the other thing I would say is, as we grow our community, I want to find the best way to communicate with everyone. The way I look at it, and the way Patreon has sort of shared their platform with me, and it's created by artists. It's not so much making extra work, it's about sharing the work we do. And so this last month, I had that arrangement of Material Girl that I did, that Latin, which, again, I'm gonna interrupt myself because if what is that song? From Last 5 Years? That whole number from Shakes the Goddess. Now that song is in A minor. I've done the show twice. I wanted to grab that. And I think when you're doing arrangements or any writing, really, it's just about finding an in. If I found an in, I thought, okay, we're doing Material Girl in a Latin samba feel, right? So that feels good. And then I run with that, and I stop thinking about Jason Robert Brown or worrying that I'm taking that idea, because a lot of times we are influenced and we run with it and we don't even sometimes realize it. In that case, I knew I wanted that influence. All right, I want to stick with Gershwin for a minute. I want to play for you something that I have been working on since I was a kid, or at least I've played it since I was a kid. This is one of the Gershwin preludes. And I brought it up because I was sort of, again, just fascinated again by Gershwin's depth, his breadth of language, his work. And this is a neat little piece, and also is a different side of me as an artist, because this is just my piano playing, which I was trained in. My piano teacher, Constance Keene, I should post about her. She married Abram Chasins, who was a colleague of Gershwin's back in the day, and I got to work with her on the Rhapsody in Blue. I got to work with her on a lot of repertoire that she had firsthand experience with, or secondhand rather, because her husband had all these stories about Gershwin, and then she was able to take that and teach. And she is was a remarkable pianist. So anyway, so let me play for you this little Gershwin prelude. I think it might be fun with the keyboard in play here, and then I might share a little bit about the process of going through a piece of music like this. Which is sort of a different, but also it's an extension of theater, because it's Gershwin. It's all theater, right? All right. Wow. So I first played that piece when I was 15, and I haven't, and I have not. Well, no, I have played it since then. Played it for you now. That's probably one of the first times in recent history that I've played something from memory, and for an audience on camera was a first. So thanks. Pieces like that, they're simple in a nutshell. They're short, but they get overlooked because they're not magnum opus. They're not a huge piece, and so good. And so one of the things that's helpful with that is always about voicing, even when you have a big chord like this. You always want to make sure you get the top note if that's the note you want to get out. Same thing with a melody. I mean, this is big hunky left-hand notes, but we have to make sure it's like becoming your own mixer. You're turning up the treble, maybe you're turning down the bass, and then when you get always making sure you're hearing the little lines in there. Places like when you have this lovely thing. Where am I? Look at the music really quick. I swear I memorized this. Oh, this business. This is like one little thing. And again, you want to create a thought of if it's repetitive. But in the case of, you also have this. And the question becomes, what do you bring out? Because you have so much going on, even in those little phrases. So I think if you have... that you hear both of them equally, but what voice do you want to bring out? I also think there's a compound melody happening with this. Whoops. There it is. Bottom, bottom, bottom. And it's so helpful to sing those out. Yeah, that's a couple thoughts about when I'm preparing a piece of piano music. Curious to know what you all think, and what are some questions you may have about that. We can drive ourselves crazy trying to get every little thing, which is important. But also there comes a point where we just have to practice just playing it. Thank you, yay! Again, I'm just getting comments a little later. So I'm going to figure out next month what I'll do, maybe do this again, or figure out what else I can do. If I do the two screens or not, or if I have my phone with me, maybe that works better as we're doing this. What are we doing at time? We're almost done. I'm going to, you know what? I'm going to play for you a brand new song. This song is part of a new project, and it brings me back to the initial thought I had about humor and how we make fun, and like, what is the purpose of your joke, right? And to not be hurtful or tone deaf, which I think is a huge concern I have of not being inappropriate. But I'm working with this new director, and we are working on a piece that, and again, under the Patreon thesis, the idea here that it's a work in progress. It's brand new. I'm sharing with you exclusively. This is not finished by any means. Much like playing the Gershwin Preludes, like I'm always going to keep working on that and other pieces as a way to keep it's like going to the gym. I've done exercises before, but I keep exercising. If only we could ever do one push-up and be done for life, right? So this next song I wrote recently, I'm working with the director. We're going to rewrite it. This is a first draft. Then we'll rewrite. We are taking really, really bad commercials, like really bad commercials, and we're writing music to them because they're so bad they're funny. And I thought before tonight, how do I want to say this? And I think that it's funny because it's so clearly obvious that they're scams, or that they're not well done, or these are individuals who are not qualified. A bad hair salon, the bad insurance salesperson, and in this case we have a psychic, the psychic hotline. And I know Sarah and I have talked about this, about part of your world and somewhere that's green, so you'll really appreciate this, because what I wanted to do was write the song about the client. And in these commercials that are all actors, they're all talking about how horrible their lives are, and a psychic will then swoop in and take up their money. So really the humor is just pointing out the scam artist concept, which I see in televangelists and all kinds of charlatans, let's say. So this was the song setting up our client, who is stuck, and I decided, what if I wrote it like Somewhere That's Green, and I just did it like a really bad Somewhere That's Green, not badly written, but bad sort of in her perspective, I guess. Hopefully it's not poorly written. You'll let me know. So this is the song called Being Stuck, where she's at home, she's taking stock in her life, and she's unhappy. Yeah. Let me know what you think. I'm up all night, feeling unstable. What I'd give to be psychically able. The future looks bleak and so hard to see. I really need some new direction, someone with a synchronic connection. a new ray of hope and some guarantee. The bills are overdue, the bank account's running low. Even with this dead-end job, there's back rent that I owe. So what's the use in getting dressed? I couldn't change my luck. I don't know how to try to stop from being stuck. I take a look online and everyone's doing great. Even my ex got engaged, my best friend's on a date. I sit here in the dark alone, I'm worse off than a schmuck. I don't know how to try to stop from being stuck. Where are all my answers? Where's the secret to my success? Where's the fairy tale ending and the prince to rescue me from my own distress? The litter isn't clean, my cat's been missing for weeks. Even my new fridge is broke, the kitchen truly reeks. The toaster doesn't wanna toast, the vacuum doesn't suck. Just give me a crystal ball, an oracle, that's all, to stop me from being stuck. Oh, thank you, Amy. Yeah. Always when we're working, we want to know what voice we're going to bring out, and that's true for playing the piano or any instrument, or your voice for that matter. But your intentions, your clarity in what you do, come through in what you're guiding us to listen to, especially when I think of it like mixing a soundboard. You're pulling up this sound, you're bringing down that sound. When I'm playing different parts at the same time, that becomes very important. And likewise, when you have a singular voice, when you're singing, unless you can, like with the monks that can split their chords, then you are able to decide how are you going to approach that phrase. How do you feel about it? How does your character feel about it? Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Donnie. Yeah, it's, well, and again, the joke, right, I'm going to deconstruct, right? We wanted to get across, this is someone who, she could easily fix her fridge. She could get the super to fix the fridge. She could get a different, simple things that when we watch these commercials, the California Psychics or those hotlines where the client's just woefully helpless. And I get true suffering, but these commercials make you out to be this damsel in distress that a prince needs to come. But it's not like, I mean, there's things she could be active in her life. So we're trying to have some fun with that sort of, that attitude. And then the next part is the terms and conditions, when they come in with like, it's only $1 a minute for the first 30 seconds, but then it's $30 a minute for the next 25 minutes, and it's just it's absurdity, right? We're out of time this evening. Thank you so much for joining. I'm going to end with as I've done in the past with one of my funnier, happier songs. Thank you all for being here. Keep me updated on how you're doing. What are some more things that you want to experience? One of the goals I have with Patreon, I was thinking about this. I've done Sunday sing-alongs, I've done kids sing-alongs. As our community grows and as it becomes more sustainable in terms of the audience and the participation with everyone, I would love to do more of these. I'd love to do maybe a weekly or bi-weekly or a couple times a month and focus them in on, let's dissect that song or that show, or let's talk about the technique of it all. Because I feel like I'm cramming it all in, which is sort of, I want to give you everything. I want to do it all. I want to have it all, So thank you all for being here. Please, please, please tell your friends. And if you have people who are interested, let them know because I love getting to know all of you, and many of you that I'm seeing here we've not actually met, which is kind of cool. That we've become friends over this quarantine experience. We've become allies and colleagues that way. It's pretty great. So here we go. Here is the last moment, the last song. This is one of my favorite songs, Sundays at Church. As you know, my parents are both ministers. And some of this is true, and some of this is just me being taking an idea and running with it, which is what you do. You take an idea, art imitates life, and vice versa. You take an idea, you run with it. So, thanks again. I love you all. It's so good to be with you. It's so good to have these times together, and having you here keeps me accountable, which is really important to keep the work moving forward for all of us, right? When I was a child, about 8 or 9, I had my first taste of that fruit of the vine. It wasn't at a bar or a street-side cafe, no. They gave me a drink, yes, they gave it away. And from that moment on, my favorite spot to imbibe is where the wine freely flows from that spirit-filled, my kind of tribe. How I long for that feast of the potables and yeast. How I love spending Sundays at church, where they pour out that wine for that deity of mine. How I love spending Sundays at church. I sit patient in the pew, then I scurry up on cue for that sanctified and prayed upon libation. Then I hurry back in line, steal a second sip of wine. Now I'm beaming with that heavenly elation. Though the reverend's concerned, I assure her that it's earned. I attend every Sunday, God, I wish it were Sunday. How I love spending Sundays at church. If I'm slurring my speech, I just tell them I preach. Or perhaps I'm just speaking in tongues. See, I'm filled with the Spirit. I'll stand up, I'll cheer it, and I'll sing at the top of my lungs. So I can't come too soon, for that sacrament at noon is the reasons for Sundays at church. You might think that I'm wrong to be singing such a song, but I know that I'll see you in church. We can disagree on views, we can argue all we choose on the meaning of that Eucharistic thinking, but we often misconstrue those words. What would Jesus do? He would rather see us celebrate with drinking, so let's all raise a glass to those sacraments at Mass. I'm still on the job, I'll have a drink later. I attend every Sunday, God, I wish it were Sunday. How I love spending Sundays at church. Now you might think me a sinner, but recall Christ's last dinner as I'm making my Pentecostal frolic. And if you have objection, let's all pause for reflection. Even Jesus made water alcoholic. And if you think me sinister, ask my parents, each one's a minister. And I see them on Sundays. Yes, I attend every Sunday. God, I wish it was Sunday. How I love spending Sundays at church. Something like that, right? And once again, as I'm singing, I'm like, I'm making fun of my own desire to drink communion wine, not so much anything against organized religion. I don't know. What do you think? You tell me. Listen, this has been awesome. Thank you for being here. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your comments. Thanks for your support. Thank you for your support. I want to keep doing this, and having you here means a lot. And anything else? Amy, send me. We got your documentary coming up. I think that's really important about trauma, working out your trauma through art. Excuse me. So I will see you Monday. Donnie and Sarah, I'll see you both soon too, and everyone else, I will see you soon. Keep the comments coming. Tell me what you didn't like. If there's something that was too, maybe I talked too much. Tell me what you liked, and not in that order. I don't know. And I'll see you soon. All right. Take care, everyone. Much love to everyone, and stay safe. All right. Bye-bye.